So yeah, I'm on a throat mic here, and yeah, we'll just see what happens. Basically, it's been on a chat today about sequencers, so I thought I'd take people through this most recent little thing that I've got. Let me get my hands on a sec. Right, okay, so I'm on the throat mic, and the audio will be coming out through my headphones, which means that I'll be able to blend the two, hopefully, once I finish this little demo. Again, not from a YouTube start, it's more like a Techspot from home, if you like. So yeah, sequencers. There's been a bit of chat today about it. I swore after a nasty incident with a Hercules MIDI controller never ever to buy anything French again, but it seems that I've been dragged into it. This is the Squarp Pyramid, and it's a very deep box, and I've had it for about 40 days before coronavirus, 40 days BC. And it's only been the last week or two that I've, had the time or the space or, the energy really just to get in and start reading the manual and figuring out what it's all about. So, Mod Cafe being an incredibly welcoming group. I rocked up a couple months ago with this. Not going to do it, but this I'm very familiar with. I can play it like a bitch. It's really cool. I can muck around with it. It's great for live. It's pretty simple, but simple and live is what you need, right? So, yeah, then I thought, well, maybe I should get something a bit more, fully fledged. So I dived into this, and it sort of sat there, ominously, just looking back at me rather grumpily for a couple of weeks. And yeah, like I said, I've only just started picking it up, and I must admit I had a big roadblock about a week ago trying to get the bloody thing to work, and it's deep. It's like 100 levels deep, and whatever I do tonight is only ever going to be about 4 or 5 levels down, but it goes quite far. And I'm only scratching the surface, to be honest with you. I think the biggest thing that I had to get my head around is that this isn't really like a kind of, a linear sequencer. It's a kind of circular sequencer. What I mean by that is that in poring over a badly written manual, which is Frenglish, and being a French speaker, I can kind of understand what they mean, but Christ, it's difficult. So, they've... I don't know, I'll just tell the story. I spent about a day programming in, sequences like I normally do. So you start off with like pattern 1, and then you copy that and go to pattern 2, and then you evolve that and go to pattern 3, and then you copy that and go to pattern 4 and whatever. And when I got everything set up and then hit play, everything played at once, and it was just like a mind fuck. I was just like, what are you doing? And then going back through the manual, it turns out that that's what it's designed to do. It's a circular sequencer, not a linear sequencer. So you're supposed to go on these kind of long kind of voyages of exploration. It's not very good live. I will be honest with you. So far, I haven't really seen as much flexibility as I have on my other machine, the little Fader Fox from Germany. But to be honest with you, I'm going to start investigating the kind of circular aspect of this thing once I've bullied this into being a sequencer that I can actually use functionally for my workflow, namely linear. So what I'm going to do tonight is I've got Ableton up here, and I'm going to record the MIDI into soft synth, just like a Juno emulation thing, whatever, and just muck around the basic features. So yeah, we're all kind of set up basically. So if I count myself down, 3, 2, 1, go. Right, we're kind of on, which is great. So like a really basic pattern, which is fine. But under the hood, this thing does some quite interesting things, in that the key thing for me is the little FX button here. And again, I'm not trying to be like a YouTube reviewing style, whatever. I'm not going to be doing the unboxing thing, whatever. But they've got about 10 or 12 little functions here, which are quite neat. So if I just take you through what we can actually do on these things, that's where the fun really happens. Even with a basic pattern, it can make it quite interesting. You've got an arpeggiator built in, and these are all MIDI effects. You've got a harmonizer, swing, and a randomize function, which are great. And then within each one of those, you've got loads of options as well. And then you've got a neat little delay MIDI function, which gives you like a double drop of the MIDI notes almost like a marauder kind of, you know, disco MIDI thing going on, which is quite nice. And weirdly, you've got an equalizer, even though no actual sound is coming out of the machine. You've got an equalizer to be able to, you know, high and low the different sounds. I don't quite know how it does that. You've got a scaler function and CCs everywhere. This thing is capable of doing 64 individual tracks of modulation and CCs and all the rest of it. It's huge. I haven't really even seen the edge of the world here on this one. It's just massive. You've got BPMs, you've got chance, you know, randomizer, like a dice roll thing. You've got an LFO and loads of other stuff I haven't quite got into. This screen's very washed out, so you're not going to be able to see any of it. So on a basic pattern like this, you know, what I normally do is just start like kind of chucking variations in, mucking around with the, you know, kind of with the note length, whatever, and maybe taking that a step further. Normal standard sequencing stuff, very, very basic. Not much to it, to be honest with you. So the fun really happens when you start adding in the different bits. So we'll start adding in the arpeggiator, which is nice. So obviously you can go up to like about 64 notes. So I'm just going to keep on the 16th for now, which is nice. So the arpeggiator is working there, which is pretty good. Step that through. At this point, I'm just going to dive into Ableton, start adding in some effects. Right, good. I think we're on. Good. What I'm now going to add in is the second effect I've got, which is in slot 3. So it's, yep. And this is a randomizer. This is set to octave. And before we dive in, I'm just going to show you. You've got like 5 parameters here matched to the 5 little blobs. That's turn on. That's a parameter you can change. And you've got about 4 different varieties. This one is octave. I've got 30% lower octave, 30% higher octave, and all of it's based on 30% chance. So it's quite neat. I'll just turn that on. This is just for octave. Right, that's just on the first pattern. It's all good. Good so far. Right, we'll go to the third and final effects I'm going to add in, which is a second randomizer, and that's in slot 4, so I've got to remind myself. So punch that. Right, and this one's dealing with a note length, right? So the second randomizer is in slot 4. Yeah, it's going to turn on here, and this is dealing with note length. So there's a 30% chance it's going to be like a slightly lower length, and then there's a 40% chance it's going to be a slightly higher length, and that's on a chance grid of 1, so it's just on the 1. And you can get some nice things here. Just bang that on. Going to just muck around with the grid a second. almost acts like a gate. It's really cool. Right, and the secret weapon here is that there's actually a touchpad here, which I've mapped to the types of ARP that it can do. So the ARP's got like about 7 things, like up, down, up, you know, octave up, octave down, you know, there's like a bunch of things you can do. But the cool thing is that I can actually select that. So I'm screwing around with the ARP. There's the fifths. Right, so I found the fifths. So again, you can change the type of ARP just by mapping it out. It's quite cool. Right, good. So that's my demo. Hope you enjoyed. That's cool. Here we go. I can muck around that for hours. Thanks guys.